Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Swiss, and I'm coming to you in high spirits right now because I just had a monster. Ticket went 8-2. Top bets went 4-1. The prop of the day, I gave out a plus 140 RBI prop. That hit. I gave out two parlays. One of those hit for like plus 470 something. What a night, or what a day, I should say. What a Saturday. But just like losing days, let's put it right in the past. Let's move on to Sunday. We got 15 games. Sunday MLB isn't always the best to bet on, but let's see if we can find some value.
Welcome to the Swiss. The Swiss. Swiss. Hey, get the Swiss.
Diamondbacks at Tigers. Zach Gallen pitching against Joey Wentz. Arizona opens up as minus 210 favorites. Total opens up at 8.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, we got a heavy lead on Arizona here. After 5 innings, 8-0 D-backs. Final score, 10-0 D-backs. So obviously, Zach Gallen versus Joey Wentz. The way the Tigers are hitting the ball, Arizona just beat the brakes off Detroit twice in a row to start this series. Everybody in the world wants to bet Arizona minus 1.5 here, obviously. So naturally, let's see if we can find some angles for the Tigers. Let's try to get on the other side. For starters, Zach Gallen really hasn't been pitching the same recently. Look at the difference in numbers from his first 9 starts to his last 4. The whip is double. FIP is nearly double. He has not been as good recently. And take a look at Gallen's last 2 starts on the road, man. Both were shaky. Arizona lost both those games, 4.84 ERA in those games. Now, to be fair, a 116 whip and a 305 FIP indicates that there was some bad luck involved in those Gallen road starts. But regardless, back-to-back losses and Gallen road starts. So is that enough evidence to predict the Tigers to score some runs here and hit this guy? No, probably not. I mean, look at the way the Tigers have been hitting right-handed pitching over the last 30 days. It's just terrible. These numbers are abysmal. 28th in OPS, 27th in WRC+. Despite the production drop-off from Gallen, I still can't see Detroit scoring more than 2 runs off him. And that most likely is not going to be enough, because when we take a look at the Arizona offensive numbers, these are just crazy. Look at the last 14 days. These are Arizona's offensive numbers on the road in the last 14 days, which is basically just their current road trip. First in OPS, first in WRC+. They're 4 games into this road trip. They've already scored 32 runs on it. They're averaging 8 runs a game. And then if we switch it up and take a look at their numbers against left-handed pitching, because Joey Wentz is on the mound, same type of numbers. D-backs absolutely crushing the baseball right now. With Joey Wentz on the mound, I just can't get there with the Tigers. So my pick for this game would be Arizona minus 1.5. I don't know if I'll actually bet that, though. Arizona coming off back-to-back blowouts. Sunday afternoon game. It's actually a Sunday morning game on the East Coast. It's like an 11:35 a.m. start. It's a getaway day, and weird shit tends to happen in that spot. So Arizona minus 1.5 or pass for me next game. Astros at Guardians. Brandon Bielak pitching against Shane Bieber. Cleveland opens up as a minus 145 favorite here. Total opens up at 8.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, we're looking at a 5-5 tie after 5 innings. Final score 6-5 Cleveland. So we're getting a nice little lead on the Guardians there. Well, to quote Prop Beaver, Brandon Bielak has the most fraudulent ERA in all of Major League Baseball. So yeah, we're probably going to fade him here. Through 6 starts, check this out. Through 6 starts, yeah, Bielak's got a nice looking 3.35 ERA, but his expected ERA is 5.65, and with a 5.22 FIP, you have to know that some negative regression is on the way for this guy. And it only gets worse when you isolate it to his road starts. He's made 4 starts on the road this year, and yeah, his ERA is sitting at 3.91, not bad at all. But look at the other numbers. A heinous 4.26 WOBA, 2.35 home runs per 9 innings, 1.61 whip, and a 6.54 FIP. A 6.54 FIP is awful. And the Cleveland Bats have been showing signs of life. Yes, JP France did pitch a great game against them yesterday, but France's numbers against left-handed bats are some of the best in baseball, and the Guardians have a very lefty-heavy lineup. If you notice late in the game, after JP France got up over 100 pitches, Cleveland did end up scoring a few runs. I think they scored 4 in the game, which shows us that there's still life in this lineup. On the other side, we got Shane Bieber pitching, and look, as much as I don't trust Shane Bieber at all, I got to admit that this is a pretty nice spot for him at home against a bunch of right-handed bats. This year, check these numbers out. At home in Cleveland, right-handed hitters do not have good numbers against Bieber. Just a 254 WOBA and a 102 whip on the season. Houston's lineup obviously still missing Yordan Alvarez. It's a very righty-heavy lineup. They were able to put up 2 great offensive games to start this series. On Sunday afternoon, I can see some negative regression. I can see the Astros putting up a small number here. So I like Cleveland, but I think I might just stay away from Bieber and bet the Cleveland team total over. Not 100% sure yet. It'll either be Cleveland moneyline or Cleveland team total over. I'll let you know on the live show at 11 a.m. Next game. Mets at Pirates. Carlos Carrasco pitching against Mitch Keller. Mets open up as slight favorites here, minus 120. Total opens up at 8. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet, and we got to lean on the Pirates here. After 5 innings, we're looking at 4-3 Pittsburgh. Final score 7-5 Pittsburgh. Well, I got to start out by asking, what is going on with Mitch Keller right now? Look at his numbers from the first 10 starts of the season versus his numbers from the last 3. First 10 starts, this is a clear-cut all-star, 2.44 ERA and an 0.97 whip. Those numbers are insane over a 10-start sample size, just dominant. Now look at his last 3 starts, a 7.79 ERA and a 1.85 whip. I mean, those are Joey Wentz numbers. And if you're thinking, well, Kyle, who did he pitch against? Was it the Dodgers and the Astros? No. The last 3 starts where he's putting up these terrible numbers, Oakland, San Francisco, Seattle. What the hell? I mean, the Giants are a decent lineup against right-handed pitching, but Oakland and Seattle? Now he's pitching against a Mets lineup, and look, I get it. The Mets are slumping, but they're a team in a huge market in New York City with a huge payroll that had high expectations coming into the season. So whatever's happening with the Mets is going to be seriously exaggerated. I mean, if you look at the Mets' offensive numbers against right-handed pitching over the last 14 days, they're really not that bad. I mean, 15th in OPS, 14th in WRC+. If Mitch Keller is struggling to get outs against Seattle and Oakland, the Mets lineup, even without Pete Alonso, should be able to score runs on Mitch Keller right now. Now let's look at Carlos Carrasco, and we're kind of looking at the exact opposite trajectory that Mitch Keller's on. First 4 starts back from injury this year, it was looking like Cookie Carrasco wasn't even cut out for the major leagues anymore. 0-2 with a 6.97 FIP, 1.85 WHIP, 7.79 ERA. I mean, those are just terrible. But now we flip it over and look at his last 3 starts. 2-0 with a 3.06 ERA and a 1.25 WHIP. Cookie's pitching well right now, man. And I actually watched his last start in Atlanta. He gave up 4 runs, but he really did pitch well in that game. He pitched better than his numbers indicate. The problem for me in this game is the Pittsburgh Pirate bats. Because if you look at their offensive numbers against right-handed pitching, look at their numbers from the last 14 days. One of the hottest lineups in baseball. But earlier today, Kodai Senga owned them. I mean, he shut them down, and Senga's been terrible on the road. If this was the Astros, or even like the Angels, just a team that showed more consistency against right-handed pitching, one game wouldn't worry me. But this Pirates team has had such extreme highs and such extreme lows that, I mean, I really don't know how to cap them right now, because is anyone going to be surprised if the Pirates lineup are back to the bottom of the league in OPS in a week or two? No, I don't think anyone would be surprised. With both bullpens struggling, this just feels like such a coin flip game to me, so getting the Mets at a plus price seems to be the more valuable side. I'm going to take the Mets here. Give me the Mets money line. Next game. Nationals at Braves. Trevor Williams pitching against Bryce Elder. Atlanta opens up as heavy favorites here, minus 250. Total opens up at 9.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet and heavy lean on the Braves here. After 5 innings, we're looking at 5-1 Braves. Final score 9-1 Braves. I mean, look at Atlanta's numbers against right-handed pitching over the last 14 days. How can we fade this lineup right now? Literally first in every single category. They've won 7 games in a row. The Atlanta Braves are officially all the way back right now. Now they get Trevor Williams in a road star, and check these numbers out. I know you're looking at that 4.58 ERA and you're thinking, Kyle, that's not that bad. But look at the FIP, 5.87, indicating that he's actually a little bit lucky to have a 4.58 ERA here. He did give up 6 unearned runs in the Dodgers game, so 4.58 ERA doesn't even accurately describe how much he struggled. Little bit of a silver lining for Washington, though. Trevor Williams actually has pitched pretty well against the Braves in his career. Atlanta's bats lifetime have just a 666 OPS against Trevor Williams, but this lineup is so goddamn hot right now that I'm not even looking too much into that. I'm just throwing those numbers out. Now, Bryce Elder. Bryce Elder's on the mound for Atlanta, and he's got excellent looking numbers on the year. Here are the numbers from his 7 home starts, 2.26 ERAs, clearly dominant. But he's only 1-0. Hasn't gotten many decisions. He's averaging under 6 innings to start, not going crazy deep into games. The number that concerns me for Bryce Elder is that 4.33 FIP. I mean, that's above average. Well, below average, above the 4 average. So worse than average, I should say. That indicates that Bryce Elder has had some good luck, some very good luck so far to have such a low ERA in these home starts. And with the Nationals bats showing us signs of life for the last month, I think Washington's going to score runs on them. But there's no way I can fade the Braves bats right now. Also, the Braves bullpen has been red hot as well. So if I had to place a bet, I'd either look at the over at 9.5 or the Braves team total over 5.5 next game. Royals at Orioles. Carlos Hernandez pitching against Kyle Gibson. Baltimore opens up as a -155 favorite. Total opens up at 8.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. And according to the model, heavy lean on the under here, and a nice little lean on Kansas City too. After 5 innings, we're looking at 1-0 Royals. Final score, 2-0 Royals. All right, straight up, I like this guy, Carlos Hernandez. I mean, I know it looks like a bullpen day for Kansas City, but Carlos Hernandez has been in the starting rotation before. In fact, in 2021, he went 6-2 as a starting pitcher. Let me correct that real quick. Carlos Hernandez went 6-2 in 2021, and he started 11 games. I don't know if the 6-2 record came necessarily in those 11 starts. So I just wanted to clear that up. I didn't really phrase that in the most clear way. But he had a great statistical season. The point I was making is he's capable of throwing 5, 6, 7 innings in a game. We've seen him do it. He definitely had a rocky year last year, but this dude throws 100+ miles an hour. I mean, I've seen this guy come out of the bullpen. He throws smoke. And look at his whip and FIP. 261 FIP is elite, indicating that his ERA should be way lower than that 4.31. Combine that with the fact that the Orioles bats are slumping right now. I mean, look at the Baltimore numbers versus right-handed pitching over the last 14 days. This team is not hitting the ball like they were early in the season. Depending on what Carlos Hernandez is prepared to do, because we know he's capable of throwing 6 innings. I mean, if you go look at his game logs from 2021, he was going 6 innings every start. But his arm might not be prepared to do that right now. So, like, sometimes the trainer tailors their workouts just for short outings. So who knows what he's capable of doing right now. But if he's able to throw 5 innings, I really like the Royals in the first 5. And part of the reason for that is on the other side, we have Kyle Gibson pitching for Baltimore. Definitely some really solid looking numbers on the season. But look at his last 3 starts at home. 4.86 ERA and a 1.56 whip. That's really not impressive. Now, obviously, the Royals' offensive numbers over the last 14 days against right-handed pitching are nothing to write home about. I mean, it's the Royals lineup. But still, those are better numbers than Baltimore's lineup in the last 14 days. I mean, they're probably about even, but still, like, I wouldn't give the batting edge to Baltimore right now. Basically, my angle in this one is the casual bettor is going to look at this game. They're going to see the Orioles with a crazy good record. They're going to see the Royals with a terrible record. The game's in Baltimore. They're going to look at the pitching matchup and see a bullpen arm against Kyle Gibson, a name they know that has good numbers. And they're immediately going to think the first 5, and this game is just such a strong spot for Baltimore. And I just disagree. I think the first 5 is a bit of a coin flip. The line's not open yet, but if we can get Kansas City first 5 money line to like +140, +145, I'm going to hammer it. Dodgers at Phillies. Victor Gonzalez, I guess, is pitching for LA. Looks like a bullpen day against Taijuan Walker. LA opens up a slight favorite here, -120. Total opens up at 9. No pitcher data. I still haven't figured out how to set my model up to handle these bullpen days because I have it set up to do the first 5 with the starting pitchers numbers. So when it's a bullpen day, it kind of throws my model off. You don't care. I don't know what. Let's get into it. Short description here. I'm basically taking the Dodgers -1.5 blindly. I do like Taijuan Walker at home. I'm much more likely to bet him in a home start than a road start. That being said, whenever the Phillies win a few games, they're always quickly overvalued. Maybe it's because they went to the World Series. Maybe because they have a couple high-powered names on there. Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber. Who knows the reason? But I noticed that whenever the Phillies win a few games, they immediately get overvalued. This is the Dodgers against a righty. I mean, it doesn't matter. They're crushing lefties too. Give me the Dodgers -1.5 at +140 next game. Twins at Blue Jays. Louis Varland pitching against Kevin Gausman. Toronto opens up at a -315 favorite. I don't know if there was a pitching change because it's way lower than that now. It's at like -210. Total opens up at 8. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. And according to the model, we got a lean on the under and a lean on Toronto. We're looking at 3-0 Blue Jays after 5 innings. Final score 5-0 Blue Jays. This one comes in from Prop Beaver. He loves this trend. So, so check this out. Kevin Gausman as a home favorite. The opponents to the run line, to that +1.5 run line, are 17-5. Covering that +1.5 dating back to last season. So Prop Beaver likes that trend. I mean, you can't really argue with 17-5. That's an insane hit rate. And then you add on the fact that in his 4 career home starts against the Twins, he's 0-3 with a 6.14 ERA and a 1.63 home runs per 9. So the Twins have had no problem traveling and smacking Kevin Gausman around over the course of his career. Last season, the Twins came into Toronto and Gausman didn't even make it through 4 innings. And yeah, Toronto may be hot. They're winning some baseball games lately. They're 7-4 in their last 11, but they're really not scoring any runs. I mean, during this little run that they're on, this last 11 games, they're averaging just 3.4 runs per game in that span. Blue Jays in their last 6, opponents are 5-1, so the run line is underdogs. So yeah, with nearly no vig, it's at minus 115. I'm going to take the run and a half, giving Minnesota plus 1.5 and minus 115 next game. Rangers at Rays. Martin Perez pitching against Shane McClanahan. Tampa opens up as pretty heavy favorites here. It's Shane Mack at home, so you would expect them to. Minus 195, and the total opens up at 7.5, but it moved up to 8 almost immediately. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet, and according to the model, we got to lean on Texas here. After 5 innings, 4-2 Rangers. Final score, 5-2 Rangers. Obviously, everyone's looking at this game, and they're immediately thinking pitching matchup. I mean, take a look at McClanahan's numbers at home. He's made 6 home starts this year. He's 4-0 with a 1.22 ERA. 0.89 whip and a 2.47 FIP. I mean, we already know this dude's one of the best starting pitchers in baseball, maybe the best. Not really a surprise there. Now, on the other side, people may look at Martin Perez's numbers on the season and think we have ourselves like a pitching battle here. No. Let's isolate it to just Perez's 8 road starts, because these numbers aren't good. And I'm not just talking about, they're just okay. No, they're straight up bad. Sure, the 3-1 record looks nice, but 5.53 ERA, and look at the FIP. A 6.23 FIP. That indicates that Perez is actually a little bit lucky to have a 5.53 ERA in those road starts. As far as the spot goes, this is a pretty dangerous spot for both starting pitchers. It's a lefty-lefty pitching matchup, and look at the numbers against left-handed pitching from these two teams. This is crazy. I mean, if you throw the Atlanta Braves in there, this is as good as it gets in the league as far as hitting left-handed pitching. You can see both of these teams basically top 2 or 3 in every single offensive category on the season against lefties. I know this total's sitting at 8 because everyone's looking at this game and they're looking at the pitching matchup, right? But that's not what I'm seeing when I look at this game. I'm seeing a lefty-lefty pitching matchup with 2 lineups that absolutely murder lefties. So I like the over at 8, but what I think I'm going to do, I think I'm going to split my money in half and put half on the Tampa team total over and half on the Texas team total over. Both are at plus money right now, so all I have to do is go 1-1 to guarantee myself a few dollars. So you can get the Rays team total over 4.5 at plus 105, and the Texas team total over 3.5 at plus 115. Next game, Oakland at Milwaukee. JP Sears pitching against Freddie Peralta. Milwaukee opens up as pretty heavy favorites here, minus 195. Total opens up at 8. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet, and according to the model, after 5 innings, we got 4-1 Oakland. Holy shit. Final score, 5-2 Oakland. So how do we not take a shot on Oakland here? I mean, if you just look at recent numbers, and I'm talking about the last couple weeks, this is a no-brainer. The way JP Sears is pitching, the way Freddie Peralta is pitching. Let's get into it. First, let's look at the A's offensive numbers over the last 7 days, right? I mean, we're talking about a top 5 lineup in baseball right now over the last 7 days. This is crazy. I know they came out a little flat today, but the A's have now won 4 straight games, and they're averaging 6 runs a game in their last 6. During that 6-game span, they lit up both Sandy Alcantara and Mitch Keller. Now they face Freddie Peralta, and I mean, if you look at this dude's last 5 starts, Freddie's really having a tough time. I mean, 6.57 ERA, a 4.03 WOBA, 2.6 home runs per 9. He's getting rocked, a 6.48 FIP. I mean, those aren't just bad numbers. They're absolutely terrible. So even if you don't trust this sudden offensive surge from the Oakland Athletics, which I don't, I don't at all, but just looking at Freddie Peralta's numbers, it's hard to imagine that the A's don't scrape across at least 2 or 3 runs against them here. And on the other side, can we take a look at JP Sears' recent starts? What the hell? His last 5 starts, look at these numbers. A 2.33 ERA, a 1.00 whip, 100 whip, and a 4.32 FIP. Now, the FIP definitely indicates that he's had some good luck, but still, a 4.32 isn't bad at all. And the craziest part is you can make an argument that JP Sears' numbers don't even matter. The only thing that matters in this matchup is that he throws with his left hand, because the Brewers against lefties they've been terrible all year. Look at their numbers from the last 30 days. 24th in WRC+, 24th in OPS. That's actually an improvement from where they were earlier in the year. On the season, they're 29th in WRC+, 30th in OPS. So this is not a lineup that should scare anyone against the lefty. Look at this. The Brewers against lefty starters this year are just 2-11-5 to the first 5 money line and 2-16 on the first 5 run line as favorites. How do we not take Oakland? Give me Oakland first 5 money line at plus 165. I'm also probably going to bet Oakland full game money line at plus 175 also. Let's go A's. That's all I had time for tonight. It's about 1:30 in the morning now. I'm on my own. Prop Beaver's not working. So tomorrow morning on the live show, we'll go through all 15 games as we always do. We'll go through line movement, final picks, all that. I think Toast is joining me too. So if you're able to make it at 11 a.m., I hope to see you in the comments. If anything changes with the bets I just gave out in this video, I'll let you know on Twitter. So give me a follow there if you're interested. And if you want the final ticket that we post, which has every single one of our bets and how much we're betting on each, top bets, parlay of the day, prop of the day, that kind of stuff, head over to KyleKirms.com.